Good morning, students. So, in the last class, we finished the alternative centers of power till China. We are done with European Union, ASEAN, and China. Now you have a subtopic within chapter 4 as an addition in your syllabus of chapter 4, that is BRICS. You have to study what is BRICS, when was it formed, how was it formed, what is its importance, okay, and its relevance in the current times. Okay, so let's know what is BRICS. It is very much clear with this letter and the flags that are shown over here. So B stands for Brazil, R for Russia, I for India, C for China, and S for South Africa. Right, this was okay. I'll tell you how it became BRICS. Actually, it was BRIC first and then it came to be known as BRICS. So let's understand how it came into existence. Okay, so your first thing is BRIC is a grouping acronym that refers to the countries of Brazil, Russia, India, and China, who are actually deemed to be developing countries at a similar stage of newly advanced economic development. They are on their way to become the developed countries. So it is typically rendered as the BRIC with apostrophe S. But later on, BRICS got added to it. S got added to it, which refers to South Africa. Okay. Now, originally, if you see, students, then BRICS actually came as an organization which functions for the development, which focuses on the growth. It came into existence for growing up, for leading the economies to a higher level of these countries. Right. So the acronym at that point of time, BRICS, was initially formulated in 2001 by economist Jim O'Neill of Goldman Sachs in a report for the growth prospects for the economies of Brazil, Russia, India, and China. All of them, they together represent a significant share of the world's production and population. Okay, I hope it is clear till here. Next, there was an interaction that took place in 2006 where the four countries initiated a regular informal diplomatic coordination with annual meetings of the foreign ministers at the margins of general debate of United Nations General Assembly. Now, that successful interaction led to the decision that the dialogue was to be carried out at the level of heads of state and the government in the annual summits of this BRICS. Okay? Now, if you look at the timeline, then the first BRICS summit took place in 2009 in the Russian Federation, and it focused on issues such as the reform of the global financial architecture. Right. It is an international political organization of the leading emerging economies. Okay, now Goldman Sachs said that these countries have the potential to form a powerful economic bloc, and that is why if you see the objectives of BRICS, then the objective of BRICS, it actually seeks to deepen, to broaden, to intensify the cooperation, right, between the groupings, within the groupings, and among the individual countries for sustainable, equitable, for mutually beneficial development. They want to remove the trade barriers. BRICS considers each member's growth, development, poverty objectives to ensure that the relations are built on respective countries' economic strength. Okay. And BRICS is emerging as a new and promising political diplomatic entity with diverse objectives. So there are areas of cooperation where we talk about people to people exchange, where members have recognized the need for strengthening people to people exchange, to foster closer cooperation in the areas of culture, to building up the relationships, removing the trade barriers, moving on for economic development, for the optimum use of resources. Right? So, such has been the objective of BRICS. Okay, now if you see the impact of BRICS on global institutions, then the main reason for cooperation is to start among the BRICS nation was the financial crisis of 2008. Because that crisis raised the doubt on sustainable development. Okay, now if you want to know that which are the members who have actually played a very important role in forming up BRICS, or what is their role in leading BRICS to even higher source of power for their development, or what else, then let's start with that, and let's start with Russia. Now students, if you see Russia, no doubt you must be knowing Putin, right? And he is one of the most immediate decision maker and a very smart, politician ever. And Russia is blessed to have one of the most one of the most encouraging, most daring, leader, right? Okay, let's start with the first point over here. Russia possesses key elements of a superpower. It is self-sufficient when it comes to natural resources. These are the capabilities of Russia which we are discussing here. Later on, we'll move why did Russia came up in BRICS? What are its advantages? Right. So it is an energy superpower. You have already read about its energy supplies, right? How important is Russia's energy supply? So it is an energy superpower. It is a space power with a developed sovereign capability, right? Next, okay students, here this red line doesn't marks it wrong. Okay, this is just the way this page has been. Okay, this PPT background has been, and somehow it has not got adjusted over here. So this point is completely right. Okay, don't get confused with it. Okay, so Russia has a world-class scientific capability. It has a world-class scientific capability with second biggest military superpower in the world. Finally, it has global ambitions and global agenda. This is nothing new that you all are going to study. Right, you know how powerful has been Russia. You have already read about this in the end of bipolarity, about its economic power, about its military power, about its energy supplies. Right, now if you see in terms of China, Russia does not have a civilizational agenda, a competitive model that could be an alternative for Western liberalism. Western liberalism, what does it reminds you about, students? US, right? Based on a free market economy. But if you talk about the Cold War, then that was a clash of socio-economic systems, military strategic competition, and there is none of that today. Today you are not in a Cold War. You are living in a multipolar world. At that time when Russia was in a Cold War, it was a bipolar world. Right? But it doesn't mean that Russia has lost the means to support itself. And if we calculate the years after 1991, it has achieved a major breakthrough. Rather, here we talk about the past 2 years, but I am telling you from the time Russia has emerged independent, free, it is working continuously for its power, and that is why we see it so powerful today, right? And it has initiated many other forums, be it Eastern Economic Forum in 2015, expanding the trade agreements of Eurasian Economic Forum. It introduced the Greater Eurasia Project, right? So all these has been one of the involvements, one of the encouraging factor where Russia has risen as a power and agreed to be a part of BRICS in order to bring sustainable development, in order to enhance its growth capability, right? and it has designed to position itself on important power in the creation of a multipolar world order, right? So that is one thing. Okay, that is all about Russia. Now I'll stop here for the day. In the next class, we will be studying about why has Russia come into, what is its strategic objectives to be a part of BRICS. Okay, and similarly, we'll move ahead with India, and we'll be discussing also about Israel. Yes, all these important powers which are emerging today and how they are making it difficult for the other superpowers in the run. Actually, we have just one, that is US as a superpower, but since we are living in a multipolar world order, how we have make it difficult for US to dominate, and how we have made ourselves so much capable to form not only cooperations, not only carry out summits, but we have proved it over the years that world is going to be multipolar, and it has to be maintained in a sustainable manner. All right? Okay, students, thank you for today. If you have any problem, let me know regarding the syllabus, regarding the portions, regarding the questions, whatever. All right? All right, students, thank you so much.